All right, in today's video, we're going to talk about how to manage a windfall through saving, investing, and planning for those big life goals. We'll also show you how Wealthfront's planning tools can help you manage these major life events. Whether you benefited from the crazy year of successful IPOs that was 2021, or your company was acquired, or you even received some big, large cash gift, receiving a windfall is a huge amount for your financial future. Here's how to go about this. Before you start building a plan for that windfall, you should absolutely pay down any high-interest debt and establish an emergency fund. High-interest debt is really any debt that costs you more than what you can make in the stock market, so that's right around 8%. If you have any debt higher than 8%, you should prioritize paying this down because you're unlikely to make more than that through investing. And for most of us, this comes in the form of credit card or general consumer debt like personal loans. Once you've taken care of that expensive debt, you should build up an emergency fund that should cover your living expenses for about 3 to 6 months. You should keep this cash in a highly liquid account like a high interest savings account that you can access at any given moment. This should not be invested as you don't want to risk not being properly prepared for any unexpected change in your life that might cause you to go without income for an extended period. Next one is taxes. If you've received a windfall, it's likely going to mean that you're going to have a huge tax bill to go along with it. Set aside the full amount that you're going to owe come tax time next year, so you don't have to worry about this one. I know that tax planning is not an exciting part of this process, but it is one that is just as important as any other step in building your long-term wealth and staying out of trouble. If you sold stock that you owned as part of your company's IPO, you're likely going to owe taxes on the capital gains. If you sold the stock less than 1 year after owning the stock, this tax bill might be even higher as you'll be paying the higher short-term capital gains rate. If you're unable to determine exactly how much you'll owe here, I'd suggest that you overestimate the amount that you're going to owe the IRS. You're better off having some extra cash set aside instead of needing to dip into your emergency savings. Okay, so now that we've taken care of the essentials, it's time to now plan for the fun stuff. Do you want to buy a home, maybe sooner rather than later? Do you want to take some time off for that long imagined sabbatical? Can you set aside some money to cover your children's college education costs in the future? Do you have enough money to consider early retirement? There are a ton of choices and you may feel overwhelmed with the abundance of options at this moment. The good news is that we actually offer tools within our app to help guide you through this. We found that many of our clients actually start thinking about buying a home or taking a sabbatical after receiving a windfall. Here's how you might think about these too. So if you're considering buying a home, we suggest that you first determine your budget, which really means starting with how much you want to spend on the home overall. If you're like I was before buying a home and have no idea what type of home is in your budget, Wealthfront has a great home planning tool that I actually used with my wife when we were at this stage. I mean, who actually knows what their whole home budget really is or what they can actually afford? Well, this tool genuinely gave us insights in the all-in cost of home buying as well as the potential monthly expenses. It allowed us to find a number that we felt comfortable with moving forward. And so once you get that idea of that home budget, take 20% of that purchase price for the down payment and set it aside in cash in a high yield savings account where you don't have to worry about any fluctuations in the market. So for example, if you're looking at a $1.5 million home, you want to keep $300K in a high yield cash account. Well, why not invest it? You want your down payment safe, easily accessible, and ready to use when the time comes for that home purchase. How would you feel if that $300K dropped 5% in the market tomorrow? Not so great, I bet. And then focus on building up your credit score. And this one plays a huge role in the home buying process, and it's not always a factor many people consider when starting out until it's too late and they've already run your credit for the mortgage. A healthy credit score to get the best mortgage terms is typically 740 or higher, so you want to strive for that at a minimum. But how do you improve your credit score? Well, paying down debt is the biggest key. In fact, credit utilization, or basically the balance of your debt in comparison to all of your available credit, contributes about 1/3 to your credit score. So to simplify this, just focus on paying down as much of your debt as possible to get the credit utilization rate as low as possible. Now on the flip side, if you don't have a lot of credit history, this can come into play just as much as outstanding debt when you're ready to take out that mortgage. I'm not gonna suggest that you go out and open a bunch of credit cards, but I do suggest that you consider financing any major purchases coming up. Even if you have the cash to pay for that, maybe that car in the future, for example, you might want to finance it instead, as this activity can help show lenders that you have a good track record. Now, it might sound counterintuitive to the previous suggestion I just made about paying down debt. For as many of us who have too much debt, there's just as many too with little credit history as well. Whether it's hashtag van life or finishing your novel from that Parisian cafe or taking time to volunteer, sometimes the most value comes from investing in yourself. And we've seen a lot of people do this over the last few years through a sabbatical. If you've just received a windfall, you may consider taking extending time off to explore the world. Our financial planning features allow you to plan for this and help you see how long you can travel for while maintaining financial security. If you're considering doing this, you may just want to set aside the full amount you'll need to fund your sabbatical in a high-yield savings account. Personally, I'd rather have the peace of mind knowing that I can book my one-way ticket tomorrow and have enough cash to last me through my entire extended trip, however long it is. Well, now's your chance to do it, so have at it. You can also explore these and other scenarios on your Wealthfront dashboard. Just link your financial accounts and we'll calculate your net worth, project its future value, and automatically update your plan as things change. All right, so once you've prioritized your goals, you can then allocate your savings accordingly. If you have a specific near-term purchase, let's say less than 3 years, then holding on to cash makes sense because you don't want to take any market risk. Any short-term cash should obviously be held in that secure, high-interest savings account. But you want to make sure you're not holding too much of your savings in cash. Holding any extra cash on top of what you need in the near term is known as cash drag. History has shown us that the stock market rises over the long term, so holding on to too much cash means you could be losing out on some very valuable returns. Leaving your cash that is not earmarked for short-term goals in a savings account is really just making a choice to take a lower return. You need to be intentional with how you allocate your savings, as it can have a huge impact over the long term. After you've paid down your high-interest debt and set aside enough cash for your short-term goals, I then suggest you consider investing what remains. If you're looking to grow your wealth in the long run, you're probably best served by investing in a diversified portfolio across multiple asset classes, which is what we offer at Wealthfront. We give you the ability to choose from our classic, customized, and socially responsible portfolios. It's your money, so you choose how you want to invest with us. Research from Vanguard confirms that it usually pays to invest all at once, known as a lump sum investment, rather than investing it over time. But I get it. If the thought of putting all your money into the market at once gives you anxiety, then invest as much immediately as you feel comfortable, and then set up a recurring deposit to invest the rest over time through dollar cost averaging. This strategy, in which you invest a fixed amount on a regular schedule, keeps you committed to investing despite market conditions, whether the market's up or down. So whether you choose to invest it all at once or spread out your investments over time, just remember that time in the market is more important than timing the market. Don't spend too much time delaying your investment, as you might find yourself missing some of the best market days. Even missing a few key days can have an extraordinary impact on your long-term returns. So instead of trying to time the market or worrying about the best time to make a deposit, you should focus on the 3 things within your investing control that can make a big difference: maximizing diversification, minimizing your fees, and minimizing taxes. Wealthfront takes care of all these for you. Now that you've strategized and invested for your future, you're probably thinking, but wait, don't I get to have some fun with this windfall too? Yes, you absolutely do. But I want to introduce you to the 10% rule first. So while you should allow yourself some play money, it's best to limit riskier bets to no more than 10% of your total liquid net worth. It can be tempting to think about trying new things like making angel investments, buying real estate investment properties, or maybe even getting into NFTs. However, the majority of your investments should be in a diversified portfolio that will deliver over the long term, not on things that are speculative. And investing in Wealthfront is a great complement to some of these more speculative investments. By following the 10% rule, you can keep your financial foundation secure in case your big bets go belly up. And if you followed all the steps mentioned here, you can rest easy knowing the majority of your money is doing what it should. So don't shy away from having fun with that maybe 10%. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Tony from Wealthfront. Take care.